Also this evening, undefeated Sharmba Mitchell, the 19-year-old from Washington. And he'll face a legendary name, the veteran Bazooka Limon, former world champion, trying to turn back the clock tonight. The spotlight is on Trump Plaza for USA's Thursday night fights. Our first fight up, and this is a wild matchup. It's the old lion versus the frisky cub. Undefeated 19-year-old Sharmba Mitchell versus 36-year-old Bazooka Limon, the former world champion. Now, Sean, it is the 14th fight for Mitchell and number 71 for Bazooka.
Well, Sharmba Mitchell has taken a lot of heat as of lately because he hasn't been able to put down and put out these old-time professional veterans like a Bazooka Limon is. Bazooka Limon is a plotter. He's going to try to move on the inside. He's very methodical. And it's going to be difficult for him to match up with the speed of the youthful Sharmba Mitchell.
All right, that's our first fight up. So odd couples all the way around tonight, with the exception of Felix and Oscar. They're the only ones not here at the Trump Plaza. We'll be back for our first fight and a full card of action on USA's Thursday Night Fights. Lead of tonight's USA's Thursday Night Fights. And first up, Rafael Bazooka Limon at the age of 36 against 19-year-old Sharmba Mitchell. And this was 8 years ago at the age of 28, Limon winning the WBC super featherweight title for the second time over Rolando Navarrete. He would lose it then to Bobby Chacon, then lose to Hector Camacho, and he's been trying to keep his career alive, but that was Limon at his best. And tonight he'll be facing a young lion in Sharmba Mitchell, just 19 years old. He has won his first 13 professional fights, 6 by knockout, and he looks to close in for the kill. And as far as experience is concerned, Sean, Limon kind of the edge over Sharmba, and it's an incredible difference there. Sharmba with 13 fights to 70 of Limon. Total rounds, 452 rounds of experience for Bazooka and 56 for Mitchell. This is scheduled for just 8. And Limon has gone 8 and beyond 27 times. As a matter of fact, he's only fought 8 once. 26 of those 27 are 10 rounds or more. And Sharmba Mitchell, who is looking to up to a 10-round fight, but he'll go 8 against the experienced veteran tonight. The New Jersey rules, 3 knockdown rule is in effect, as is the standing 8 count. You can never be saved by the bell in any round, and the 10-point must system. And we are ready to go for our first fight. For the introductions, let's go to our ring announcer, the dapper Ed Darian.
From the beautiful Imperial Ballroom here at the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City centerpiece, Frank Gelb Promotions, in association with the Trump Plaza, proudly present Thursday Night Fights. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of the scheduled 8-round lightweight bout, referee Paul Venti. And now, boxing fans, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, wearing the green trunks with the white trim. He weighed in at an even 138 pounds. Now, this gentleman has 51 wins, 17 losses, 2 draws, with 38 knockouts. The former 2-time super featherweight champion, all the way from Mexico City, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to Atlantic City, New Jersey, as well as the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, Rafael Bazooka Limon. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the purple trunks with the gold trim. He tipped in at 136.5 pounds. This young man hails from our nation's capital of Washington, D.C. Boxing fans, here is Sharmba Mitchell.
Quote your memo instructor with the New Jersey boxing rules. As your referee, I'm here to enforce those rules, so listen to my commands. Shake hands now, come out fighting, good luck to both of you. Shake hands.
Well, Bazooka Limon happy to see Sharmba Mitchell. Not exactly a stare down. Very congenial was Bazooka as Sharmba Mitchell, who was 2 years old when Bazooka Limon made his pro debut back in 1972. And he goes in against a former world champion who now at the age of 36 is either trying to turn the clock back or just hanging on.
Interesting matchup between two southpaws, both of them left-handed. Now, Sharmba Mitchell started off right-handed. He writes with his right hand, but he boxes left in the left-handed stance.
And Sharmba Mitchell, if he had any nervous feeling going up against the former world champion, that I think is gone by now. He's getting a couple of punches in. Limon in his heyday, awesome body puncher, but here you can see off the start he is keeping his distance from Sharmba Mitchell.
And that's the wrong thing to do against Mitchell. If he's got room, he can punch you, he can move you like he's doing here in this first round.
Limon's first title shot came in 1979 when he was stopped by Alexis Arguello for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship. Arguello then vacated, and then Limon won the championship, but in his first defense lost to Cornelius Boza Edwards in 15 rounds. But he regained the title by beating Rolando Navarrete in 82. He defended once before losing the title again to Bobby Chacon in 82. A great fight that Chacon won, 15-round decision. Then when Chacon vacated, Limon fought Hector Camacho for the title and was stopped in the 5th round. He was inactive for a couple of years, tried coming back. He stepped in against Julio Cesar Chavez, but was stopped in the 7th round. That was in 88. And then lost a 10-round decision in a rematch with Navarrete. Last couple of years, he's fought in Mexico, won a couple of fights. And his last fight was in December, lost a 10-rounder to Mamang Manay of the Philippines. And right now, he steps in the ring against a young fighter who's trying to pick up some valuable experience. Limon taunting Mitchell.
Limon is telling Mitchell to come in, to come to him, to rush right into him. Mitchell says that he's fought southpaws before, and against the southpaws, he likes to move to his right. Now that's into the southpaw power. They got the power in that left hand.
Mitchell started quickly. He tagged Limon twice in the opening seconds, but has been standing off here as we get down to the final 25 seconds of round number 1. Mitchell, who's been working on his punching power, feels he needs to make more of an impression. Last fight he went 8, but before that he had knocked down Dana Roston and knocked him out at a minute of the first round.
Come on, let's go.
And for our local systems, we'll pause for these messages. Limon thought that was the end of the round. It was just a 10-second warning. He's been out longer than we thought.
Hi, welcome back.
Round number 2, Paul Venti, the referee, going into Limon's corner at the end of the first round to tell his cornerman to tell Bazooka that the pounding on the mat means 10 seconds left. And it is not the end of the round. Mitchell, the tender age of 2 when Limon broke into the pro ranks.
I actually like that when they pound on the mat, because as a fighter, that's going to give you a signal that 10 seconds are left. Come along and...
Limon playing, taunting Mitchell. Is Limon saying something to Sharmba about his punching power?
Well, he's trying to get Sharmba Mitchell to come into him, to come closer, so Limon can hit Sharmba. And right now, Limon, realizing that he is a veteran, realizing that he's been in the ring longer than Sharmba Mitchell. I talked with him today. He was extremely relaxed about this fight. He says, "Who is this kid? You know, what's this kid going to show me? What can I learn from him?"
Well, he's trying to find out here in the first 2 rounds, keeping himself wide open for Sharmba Mitchell. And the critics of Mitchell just say that He just can't finish guys off. Question his punching power. He's well constructed, short, compact, very aggressive. But he's been going in with some veteran fighters and picking up experience along the way, but going in against fighters who could survive. Sharmba Mitchell, and Limon signals to the crowd, nah, don't get excited. This could be a little more entertaining than we thought. Bazooka Limon bringing in all the tricks. He certainly looks all of 36 and does not look near the condition of his championship days. Perhaps this will bring the best out of Sharmba Mitchell, being taunted by the former world champion.
Well, he does realize that he's got lots of time. Bazooka Limon normally starts off about the 4th round. He starts heating up. It takes him a long time to warm up. And he's not at all concerned about Mitchell, realizing that how young and inexperienced Mitchell is. He's trying to get into those later rounds. And you know what? These first few rounds against a fighter like Mitchell, you'll probably lose them anyway, or he will, because he's such a slow starter. Why not lose him big? If you're going to lose him, go ahead and let Mitchell punch himself out. Where he's going to start picking it up is after 5. But it's only scheduled for 8 rounds. Sharmba Mitchell in that 2nd round. When you're playing around like Bazooka Limon is doing, you cannot get sloppy. You've got to keep your concentration. And he's going to have to get busy too. He's waiting too long. He's waiting for Sharmba to take too much control of this fight. And when I have seen him at his best over his career, he was moving forward, he was down low, and he's not doing that here.
This is the 14th professional fight for Sharmba Mitchell. Limon fought his 14th professional fight 16 years ago, 1974.
Over 5 times as many fights for Rafael Bazooka Limon. Record of 51, 17, and 2, 38 knockouts.
He won his title at 130 pounds. At the weigh-in this morning, he actually tipped the scale originally at 140, had to get down to 138 for this fight. Mitchell goes upstairs. Plotting Limon has shown no offense yet in the first 3 rounds.
You know what? You see a different style in Sharmba Mitchell this round than you did the last round. Here in this 3rd round, he's more aggressive.
Turned pro when he was 18, Sharmba Mitchell. 19 years old already. He has had 13 fights.
Well, he has been working more on his power, Sharmba Mitchell is. When we saw him against Bobby Brewer, he had Brewer hurt in the 7th and was not able to put him away. He was terribly upset after the fight. He really upset that he wasn't able to knock out Bobby Brewer. It was not much of a fight, though, because Sharmba Mitchell won just about every round.
Sharmba has fought veterans, Thomas Baker and Aristides Acevedo, Joe Alexander, who are all survivors, all knew how to go the distance. So Sharmba feels that perhaps he's picked up a rap that is undeserved.
He says that he wishes that he could use the experience and move this process ahead faster of getting to a championship fight. But he says, my managers are keeping me back because of my age. 19 years old, Sharmba Mitchell.
Well, they wanted to fight a 10-rounder, you recall, last time we were here. And you have to be 20 years old to fight a 10-rounder in New Jersey, unless you're approved by the commission. Now is Sharmba measuring Limon.
And you have to have approval from your parents. You have to have a note.
Break! Let go of the rope. Let's go.
Vente says, let go of the rope to Limon, and shakes his head yes, doesn't understand English. Well, he understands now the warning and just walks away from Mitchell at the end of the round. Mitchell at 5'6.5" and 136.5 to start this 4th round against Bazooka Limon. Big left by Mitchell.
And there is just what Adrian Davis was telling Mitchell in his corner. Go out, and he's saying, dog him, put more pressure on him, and throw punches. Mitchell following instructions well from the corner. Now, this is the 4th round. It's scheduled for 8. This is halfway. If you're Bazooka Limon, you've got to start getting some aggressiveness going. You got to start throwing some punches and landing, or you're going to get too far out of winning the fight. You cannot be backing up like he's doing now.
Come on, let's go.
You know, it's interesting to see a former world champion who used to be 15 rounds and 10 rounders. It's interesting to see him go back to an 8-rounder. He's going to do better the longer the fight is. I'm talking about Limon.
A no-win situation, though, for Limon.
Well,
if he stepped in against a bigger name and he pulled off the upset, all of a sudden he starts thinking of what may be next. But a victory over Sharmba Mitchell, even though Mitchell is a fine prospect, but what would that mean in the boxing circles? It appears as if he's extending his career for a few more paydays. And he has essentially been clowning around in the early rounds of this fight, trying to get Mitchell off his game, trying to get him on off his track.
And trying to get Mitchell to expend some of that energy for later in the fight so that Limon can come back. I hope.
Solid left, and Sharmba Mitchell stays on top of Bazooka Limon.
And now this is where the conditioning comes in, the last part of the fight. He was rocked, Bazooka Limon was hurt, but he does not show it. Where the acting comes in for Limon.
The years have taken its toll on Limon, who certainly did not conjure up any images of a world champion.
Well, he is a veteran, as we've said, but he says he's going to give it 2 more years, and then that's all.
2 more years?
2 more years. He's 36,
We're thinking
so by the age of 38.
How about 2 more rounds? 30 seconds to go in the 4th. Mitchell in and out. Limon mimicking Mitchell.
We need to mimic Mitchell with that punch. Nice left hand. The straight left is what the corner has been telling Sharmba Mitchell. There's that pound on the side of the ring. That tells you there's 10 seconds left. Now right here, you try to pour it all on. Try to steal that round.
Back in with a little bit of boxing history. March 8th, 1971, 19 years ago. Joe Frazier, heavyweight championship fight, the fight of the century. The victory over Muhammad Ali.
Between rounds, each rest period, that man Bazooka Limon stood up. Good punch by Sharmba Mitchell from the last round. He went downstairs with the right jab and then the straight left upstairs, just what the corner is telling him. Tailor-made. 5th round, Limon better turn up the heat. He better get busy.
Now we'll see if Limon gets down to business with half the fight over.
Limon has always been weak with his jab. He throws that right jab, but he throws it just mainly as a feint anyway. He really doesn't try to connect with it. What he does is he loads up on his left hand. He'll put that right jab out there, try to set it up for the left, straight left. See if he keeps doing that. He needs to set up something because he's got to start throwing punches.
Mitchell, at the age of 14, shocked many of the amateur followers when he defeated the former national junior Olympic champion, Paulie Ayala, and that's part of the famous Ayala fighting family. 8 golden gloves won by Mitchell, along with a national junior Olympic title. He is a 5-time winner of the prestigious Ohio State Fair, and he competed for the United States in international competition. So big amateur background for Sharmba Mitchell, and he has yet to be beaten as a pro.
Between rounds, Paul Venti, 3rd man in the ring, visited the corner of Bazooka Limon, told him to quit hitting with open hands.
Limon in the corner, now he holds on, and this is the first time he has given a sign of being in trouble. Trying to pull the shorts of Mitchell down. The trot. Limon trying it all, and he succeeds. And a crowd booing. He has been clowning all fight and embarrassing his opponent, and then apologizes. And that's a heck of a trick with these gloves.
major embarrassment.
You ever have a point taken away for pulling down your opponent's pants?
Well, it's not in the rule book.
Well, Limon still knows how to get some publicity because that's going to be on the highlight all around the country.
And Sharmba Mitchell needed some more exposure. He got it.
And Sharmba Mitchell showing Limon what he thinks about that trick.
That was the most action that Limon has given us in this fight. The only action.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Let's go.
Cut it out, says Paul Venti.
Break, break, break. Let's go.
Well, we had seen it all until tonight. 10 seconds to go in the 5th.
Well, we did see it all. From Sharmba Mitchell. We saw it all.
6th round action. Bazooka Limon getting the warning in the corner from referee Paul Venti. No more clowning around. He pulls a stunt like that again, and he'll stop the fight.
And now this may be what Limon wanted for Sharmba Mitchell to do. He wanted to frustrate Mitchell so that Mitchell would come after him. Now he's been hanging in there, but Mitchell's been out on the outside. It appeared as though he's taking this for a payday.
Well, if there are a list of 1,000 ways a fighter can frustrate your opponent, pulling down the pants I don't think would have made the list.
I don't know. I've seen that a few times. When you have nothing else to do, sometimes you got to just break the rhythm of your opponent. Right now, Mitchell, it's all Mitchell. And watch out for your trunks, Mitchell. Now Mitchell is boxing with one hand on his trunks and one hand in the face of Limon.
I don't know, maybe they'll start a trend. Start seeing that more. Big left by Mitchell, who like nothing more right now to knock out Limon for embarrassing him here at the Trump Plaza and around the country on national TV. That scene indelibly marked now the career of Sharmba Mitchell.
Sad that a former world champion still hanging in there with fights like this, completely out of the fight, not even, it appears as though he's not even trying. I'm talking about Bazooka Limon.
Now essentially making a mockery of it here tonight.
Making a mockery of it and also the championship of the world. He's a former world champion. He needs to show like it, act like it.
40 seconds to go in the 6th. This is scheduled for 8. We wonder what more can Bazooka Limon pull out of the bag of tricks.
Pull down from the bag of tricks.
It has been all Sharmba Mitchell, but not enough to stop Limon.
And this is actually frustrating. It's frustrating for a fighter like Mitchell.
For our local cable systems, we'll pause for these messages. You're watching USA's Thursday Night Fights. I was move into round number 7. Bazooka Limon pulling out all the tricks to go the distance, and he's a couple of rounds away, including a few rounds ago, pulling down the pants, the trunks of Sharmba Mitchell. Sean, what would have you done if somebody pulled that on you in the ring? Seriously.
I think I would have gotten mad, and I would have thrown more punches, but I think I would have tried to pull their trunks back down too. I mean, you have to do something. Every time your opponent does something to you, you've got to do something back to him. I hope that I would do that. You know, when you think about it, what else can you do? He's just embarrassed you. He's just humiliated you. And also, it's really frustrating Sharmba Mitchell right now because Mitchell can't retaliate for that. He doesn't have the power yet to retaliate against a fighter like Limon.
In other words, you're saying eye for an eye, trump for the trump. A minute gone by in the 7th round, and I think Right now, everybody satisfied that this is only an 8-rounder.
See Limon holding that right jab out straight? What Sharmba Mitchell did, and that was wise, he leaned over and hit him on the armpit. Oh, that hurt. Now, Mitchell.
Limon now complaining that he was either butted or thumbed, not getting much sympathy from the crowd.
Complaining that he was thumbed. It was a right hook that did the damage from Sharmba Mitchell. That punch right there. Now you keep throwing to that side. That'll blur. If you hurt your opponent, he's blinking his eyes. He's complaining about a hurt eye. You hit him on that eye. You go for it. He's going to be blurred vision on that side anyway.
Continues. Cut it out. Continues to talk to Limon, who ignores the referee. Doesn't understand him. Although I think he understands the gist.
Limon just in there to go the distance. The thing that fighters say whenever the time has come for them to find another career, they say, I just couldn't get off. I just couldn't get my hands going. What's happening, every time he tries to get his hands going, Sharmba Mitchell punches him 3 or 4 times. So he has gone into that shell. He's not throwing the punches. He's just trying to coast through these rounds.
Big combination from Mitchell to end the 7th. And he rips down at the head of Limon, who tried to tackle him as the bell sounded. So we have 7 down and 1 to go, and who knows what to expect in the last 3 minutes. And a chance to remind you, more sports on USA. Exciting professional tennis action this weekend with the Newsweek Champions Cup from Indian Wells, California. Be with us Saturday for the men's semifinals, and then Sunday for the finals. The Newsweek Champions Cup, Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. 1 Central, right here on USA. Thinking back to the infamous round in which Limon pulled down the trunks of one Sharmba Mitchell. Good thing he was even wearing some undergarments under the trunk.
Would have been a split decision.
Mitchell looking forward to getting this one over with.
Oh, how embarrassing. How humiliating.
And now Limon on his toes. Have not seen much of that tonight.
What I used to do I used to wear my training trunks under my actual boxing trunks, just in case somebody, reached over and tried to pull my trunks down.
Ready for anything.
Well, yeah, you have to be. I didn't want to show my Fruit of the Looms there on national TV.
All right, break. Come on. Let's go.
On his bicycle, Rafael Limon just looking to survive. Can't get off. He is the one tying up. He is way behind. Came into this fight just to pick up a payday.
Once went 11 rounds with Alexis Arguello. 15 rounds with Cornelius Boza Edwards.
This is the first former world champion that Sharmba Mitchell has faced. And he said, if I can get a win over a man like this, it'll do my career a lot of good. So if I can get win in 3 or 4, I want to get wins over them before I step up to 10 and 12 rounders.
Another punch by Mitchell.
Asking him about Rafael Limon, Sharmba Mitchell said he was a great fighter in his day. Says now it is my day. Fight plan for him tonight, and he had to change it after the first round. His fight plan was to box. He's been the one who's been the aggressor in this fight. And look who's holding on.
Would you consider, if you're Sharmba Mitchell, closing seconds, the retaliation from the embarrassment of just going low with a blow in the last few seconds. I mean, does that go through a fighter's mind to just kind of an even up? You're going to get him eventually.
Absolutely.
It's not going to cost him 5 points. Way ahead anyway.
Right. You have to do something for retaliation. You cannot let your opponent get the upper hand. With something like that, though, instead of going with a low blow, if it were me, and probably Sharmba Mitchell the same, it would be time to try to pull his trunks down.
Although Sharmba seems to be too nice of a kid to resort to that.
He is a very nice kid. It's a shame that that happened to him.
Limon should be booed at the end of this fight. 10 seconds to go. And he's just holding on for the final seconds.
I wonder if a fine will come out of this, out of the pulling down the trunks from...
Well, they can hold his purse. Limon.
There's actually nothing in the rule book that says you cannot pull down your opponent's
Well, just
trunk.
about the way he's approached this fight and the clowning around.
You know something, fans? These young
We'll be back and get the official point total in just a moment. Marciano or D, was it Floyd Patterson? Think it over. Good question. And the answer? Leon Spinks. He weighed 197 1/4 when he beat Muhammad Ali on February 15th, 1978. Brother Michael was 200 on the nose when he took the crown from Larry Holmes. That's our boxing trivia for tonight. And speaking of trivial, we'll get the decision on this one. And here is Ed Darian.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, the scoring by points as follows. Judges Eugene Grant and Al DeVito each score 80-72, while Judge Rocky Castellani, he observed it at 80-71 for the winner by unanimous decision and for his 14th straight win in his many pro bouts, Sharmba Mitchell.
And a standing ovation from the crowd. Even Limon is applauding. What a character.
De pantaloncillo negro con blanco, el ex campeón nacional de peso ligero, Juan Manuel Ulterior Soberanes. Referee, el profesor Raúl Quirales.